So for this task, we're basically going to be able to build up a sum of the parts or a model that will basically reflect a varied list of ingredients. For example, so let's say you're building an airplane engine and you want the total cost of the airplane engine depending on which parts you put in. What we're going to do now is build a database of parts and then a model that will allow you to input in those parts into the final solution. So a simple way to think about that is nutrition facts for a food, right? If you have a recipe and you add some salt and you add some sugar and you add some chicken, your nutrition facts will be the sum of those parts. So for this, we're going to build up that. Now you can see here I've got a list of different ingredients with their calorie counts and their properties here. These are all in different tables. Sugar's in a separate table, salt's in a separate table, soy sauce is in a separate table. And in Excel, whether or not you're using pivot tables or lookup functions, which those are the two most popular ways to manage data, you really want one table to look up from or to build a pivot table off of. So we're going to build our own database of nutrition facts. I'm going to use the copy paste special transpose here. These are going to be the columns of our nutrition facts. We've got our ingredient here. So those are going to be the columns, and then down the ingredients list we'll have the separate ingredients. So for sugar, we're going to have calories, protein, carbs, and fat. We transpose that with the serving size. For salt, I'm going to do the same thing. Copy this for salt. And we'll continue down the rest of the list, which I'll fast forward. All right, so now I have my database of my 8 ingredients, and this is going to be my lookup table to look up from. I'm going to cut this, copy it into a separate database sheet. This is my database, and I can keep building it down or across with more nutritional items if I want. But this is my lookup. So now I can delete all of these because I've gotten everything that I can out of that, and it's in my table. I'm going to build my recipe here. So I'm going to sum total ingredient. I'm going to build it here. So I'm going to have the serving size, the calories, the protein, and the carbohydrates, and the fat for each of these ingredients. Okay, and we're gonna shorten this column a bit. All right, so now for each ingredient, I want the serving size. Let's say I want chicken with salt and sugar. So I'm gonna have 3 ingredients: chicken, salt, sugar, and now I need to look up from this table into this table. So if I want the serving size for the chicken, I want to do an H lookup. And I have a list up here of different things you could use to do this, but I'm going to use H lookup. Lookup value, serving size, and I'm going to lock this cell. On this table, I'm going to select the entire column here, not just the table, because if I build more ingredients down here, I still want them to pull in. So in case this list gets bigger, I'm going to select the whole column. Row index number, chicken is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I want an exact match. All right, so that gave me 112 grams. And I'm going to bring this to the right. And this should be right. This should be about right. But what happens when I copy this formula down? It's giving me chicken again, right? Salt is 5 grams for a serving size. So I don't want this. This is static, right? This number here is telling me which row to look up. I'm going to use a match formula to look up the value for chicken in this lookup array. So I want how many rows down is chicken, and I want an exact match again. So it's 5th row down. We already counted that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th row down. So I'm going to copy this entire formula and embed it in the H lookup formula. So I'm going to take that 5 and just make it to match. And now, when I go across, copy the formula, it comes out the same. And when I go down, Control D, comes out with sugar. And when I go down with, this is salt, and we can check it. Salt has 50 calories. Salt, 50 calories. These aren't real nutrition facts. And then sugar has 5 carbohydrates. Let's see, sugar's got 5 carbohydrates, salt has 2. So we're right, we're good. And now we can make this model and sum these up. Awesome. Why is this coming out 0 now, though? It's coming out 0 because these are in text. If you go back to my inputs, these are text. So I'm going to do something kind of cool here where I'm going to Control 1, that's number formatting, and I'm going to change the custom format to a number with a word after it. 0.0 is my number, space, grams. And now this is actually going to turn into a number. You'll see it change alignment here. So I'm going to just copy, paste, formatting, this entire column, and now it's all, if I type in 5, 6, 112, 5, 30, 5, 100, it all comes out in terms of grams. And I'm going to do the same thing, copy, paste special for this, for all of these. I'm just pasting that format so we know how many grams. And then I'm actually going to go back and do it for these too. Although these are formulas, so they'll be black. And now we know what the unit is, but we also know that we can add it up. All right, great. So our chicken with salt and sugar recipe has this many. This is the serving size, calories, protein, carbohydrates, and fat per 122 grams. But we want to know how much of each we're adding, because maybe we want to add a little bit more salt or a little more sugar. So we're going to use 199 grams of chicken, 3 grams of salt and 3 grams of sugar. And so we've used a total of 205 grams, but these didn't change because this hasn't been incorporated. So let's make this, how do we do this? So calories will be, we make this multiplication, 199 grams, lock this column, over the total serving size, times the amount per gram. And this should have the units that we want. Formulas. And then these I'm going to make. All right. So for per 205 grams, let's take this out of there so there's no confusion. Per 205 grams, this is the amount of nutrition in our product. And that's how you build a model. If I wanted to do a different recipe, I can just do this, copy paste it. I can say sardines with barbecue sauce. Oop, I don't want that. So sardines, barbecue sauce. And this is what sardines with barbecue sauce looks like. I can change this amount of grams. If I want to use that much more barbecue sauce, this is what the recipe will look like for 211 grams. But how do I know what's in my database? Well, I don't right now, but I can do a validation on this list of ingredients. So here's my list of ingredients. I'm going to do what's called a data validation on this cell. Data validation. And I'm going to make it a list based on these. So now, check in. So now I can just select my ingredients from the list. So if I want vinegar in there, I can put vinegar. If I want salt in there, I can put salt. And you can change this for any formula, for any recipe. So let's say I want to do, you know, pasta with chicken. This is what pasta and chicken looks like for the amount for the nutrition facts. All right, well, I hope you like this. This is just basic stuff you can do with modeling. The keys being, again, just put everything in one table. If you're going to look up or going to do any analysis, everything should just be in one table. It's much easier that way. Whether it's years across the top, or you have a separate column for years. You know, those are two common ways of doing this, but years, you know, you just want one table. You don't want one table for 2013, one table for 2014. You want it all in one table.